Sometimes talking with friends feels like role-playing. Sometimes it feels like combat. Join us at the round table and roll initiative. This is Curmudgeons and Dragons. Hello, welcome back to another Curmudgeons and Dragons. I believe this is episode 20. I'll be honest, I kind of lost track a while ago and I stopped counting. But I'm Jason Portizo, joined by absolutely nobody because Jack is still incapacitated, planning things for a giant festival for his brewery, and Josie is still packing the one bag that she brought to England. So it's going to be a little bit before she gets settled in. But I'm Jason Portizo, and I will be here talking to you guys by myself because we have not done RPG horror stories this month. And I thought that was a damn tragedy. So I picked a story here. I kind of browsed it, got the gist of it to make sure it was a good story for you, but not reading it too in depth because I still wanted to be able to kind of, half blind react to it. So we're just going to read through this, and this story is a wild ride. This is all over the place. Everybody's an asshole in the story. This is a nice mix of I blame the player and I blame the PC because they all suck. This story is such a mess. I can't believe this. But I'll be reading through this. We'll kind of stop every now and again and kind of give my thoughts as we go. And I would love to hear your thoughts as well. So after the story is over, you can go ahead and follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Curmudgeons and Dragons, or you can shoot us an email to curmudgeonsanddragonspod@gmail.com. Would love to hear your thoughts on this story. So this is posted by user Darkside Marauder on Reddit's RPG Horror Stories. This is A Bully Gets Their Just Rewards. Years ago, I was playing in the 3.5e homebrew Dark Sun game. There were 5 players, including myself and the DM. And the DM had us using character trees, so we each had 4 characters we would rotate through. The participants that matter most to the story are the DM, a friend's half-giant barbarian ranger, and my mole, which is a human dwarf hybrid, my mole gladiator. The friend in question always felt that he should be in charge of the party, but his way of leadership is ordering characters around, the other players not listening to him, and my friend getting frustrated because no one respects his, quote, leadership, end quote. So let's jump in right here real quick. So we already have a player who is treating a collaborative storytelling game as a co-op video game or co-op tabletop game where he wants to do what we call quarterbacking. If you've ever played games like Sentinels of the Multiverse or any other co-op game, it's really easy to fall into a quarterbacking type of situation. It's where one player tries to play everyone else's turn for them. There's a difference between helping and people not wanting your help. And that seems like the situation we're in right here, but let's keep going. This time he took a different approach. At this point in the game, all of the characters were passengers on a caravan. The half-giant asked for a private meeting with the caravan master. The half-giant killed the caravan master's bodyguards and then rolled Intimidate against the caravan master and succeeded. The half-giant told the caravan master that he's in charge now and that all caravan income, including passenger fees, were his now. So a player just jumps in and just starts rolling Intimidate and uses that to play the game rather than actually playing the game. There's more to this game than Intimidate checks. Back to the story. After this, the half-giant started bullying all of the party members and telling them that he's in charge. Through successful Intimidate rolls, which the DM did not have roleplayed, he just let the half-giant roll Intimidate against the party. And a small amount of PvP, the half-giant bullied most of the party into accepting his leadership. However, my mole gladiator resisted the Intimidate and wasn't impressed. Hold the phone. We have a DM here who is allowing you to skip roleplay and go right to an Intimidate roll and going right into PvP. I don't know if these players agreed to PvP during session 0, assuming they had a session 0, because it doesn't sound like that kind of DM. But this is a lot of red flags in here. This is a mess. This is where this whole thing starts to fall apart. Let's see what happens. The DM allowing Intimidate against other PCs was a red flag to a lot of us. Oh, cool, me too. We also brought it up with both my friend and the DM that no one likes that their characters had to submit to the half-giant. Another red flag came up to us when the DM refused to intervene. The DM said that the half-giant is neutral evil, and it's what the character would do. DM also said that we should deal with it in-game. So I started planning to do exactly that. It's bad enough when people say, it's what my character would do. I have never seen a DM saying it's what his character would do. This is so far off the rails already. However, it looks like we're about to get some revenge. Let's see what the Mole Gladiator does. First thing I did was attempt to steal the half-giant's large heavy flail. I knew that with that as his weapon, he could easily kill most of the party. I rolled a natural 20 on my move silently for a total of 23 and a 21 on sleight of hand. My friend, the half-giant's player, responded with, my character sees the gladiator steal the heavy flail. I take it back and instantly kill the gladiator with it. DM actually had my back with this one and said, dude, that's metagaming. Roll listen for the move silently and roll a spot for the sleight of hand. Pause. Okay, DM is starting to bring himself back a little bit by actually doing DM stuff. Can he keep this going? Unpause. My friend instantly became furious, but rolled the dice. Got a 7 on the listen and a 3 on the spot. DM tells him that his character has no idea that his weapon is gone, and my friend gets even more furious. Next, I wait until the half-giant bullies another PC. My mole steps in and yells, hey, pick on someone your own size. The half-giant reaches for his flail and discovers that it's gone. So the half-giant rages and charges. He tries to punch my mole, and the DM asks my friend if his character has improved unarmed strike. And my friend says no. DM says the punch provokes an attack of opportunity. My friend rolls a 2 for a total attack roll of 14, which wasn't enough to hit my AC 17. I asked the DM if I could do a foot sweep trip as my attack of opportunity. The DM says yes. My friend says that the gladiator doesn't have improved trip, so the foot sweep provokes an attack of opportunity. DM says attack of opportunity can't provoke another attack of opportunity. I succeed on my attack and get higher on the opposed roll for tripping. With my actual turn, I jump onto the half-giant's chest, draw my obsidian short as a free action, which was a quick draw feat, and put a small slit in the half-giant's neck, enough to cause damage and bleeding, but not enough to be fatal. Then I rolled intimidating, got a 25, and told the half-giant that the next time he tries to bully someone, his head comes off. The half-giant never bullied anyone again, and most everyone went back to enjoying the game. Later on, the half-giant willingly betrayed the party because the player thought it was, quote, unfair how his character had been treated, and got killed in the process of the betrayal. So, the DM actually kind of starts to redeem himself a little bit here by correctly calling out the rules that he has to roll to see if he's the sneak, chastises him for trying to metagame, and, correctly states that, an attack of opportunity is not going to trigger another attack of opportunity. I feel like the DM is starting to redeem, while the player is the massive asshole in this story. And all's well that ends well, right? So, the story has a part 2 hidden in the comments. Darkside Marauder continues. The next session, the DM had us encounter some psionic squirrels. Stop. I just love psionic squirrels. I love the idea of it. I know psionics aren't much of a thing anymore. Bring it back. Unpause. The party's ranger befriended the squirrels, but the player of the half-giant was still salty, so he killed all the squirrels. Stop. This guy has to die. We then got attacked by grass that burrows into your hide and drains your blood. The grass kills our earth cleric and is doing massive damage to our monk. The half-giant's player brings in his fire cleric. This part confused me the first time I read it. They said they have 4 characters each, so he has another character he can swap in. Okay, just to make sure we're all on the same page. The half-giant's player brings in his fire cleric and lights the grass on fire. The grass dies, but rather than putting out the fire, increases its size and damage, and the player starts cackling. We try to talk the player down, but he won't stop. We KO the fire cleric and save the monk. So he brings in this fire cleric to, kill the grass that's killing people. But then, while he's there, he's going to start killing the monk. Now we're back into a forced PvP situation. This guy's going to go. I don't care if you kill him in game. I don't care if you kick him out of your house. This is not a player that you need to be playing with. Let's see what he does. The party has a meeting with the caravan master to figure out what to do with the fire cleric. During the conversation, the fire cleric wakes up, kills the caravan master, and the fire cleric and half-giant run away. Unbeknownst to the rest of us, the players of the half-giant and the monk, and the one other player, had private messages with the DM about trying to take over the caravan or kill other PCs. We discovered this after the game self-destructed. One player, playing a mutant telepath, was going to use psionics to control the party and kill those who resisted. The player of the half-giant was bringing in a mercenary company to take over the caravan and use psionics to indoctrinate the PCs to his cause or kill those who resisted. The player of the monk simply wanted to murder PCs in their sleep. How many assholes do we have at this table? I've lost track of how many players there are because there's several characters per player. I've not met one redeeming character yet, except maybe OP, and that's the one telling the story. They might be a prick too. I don't know. The DM certainly isn't helping. Next session, this is all sprung on us in a massive cluster frag. Their words, not mine. PCs died left and right with myself and one other player baffled at what was happening. The DM laughed harder and harder with each PC death. The game's half-giant player started crying and left. The player of the telepath stormed out when his telepath was killed. And the monk simply coup de grace every PC or NPC that went down during the fight until he got killed. When the dust settled, 3 characters were alive: my mole gladiator, a 7-year-old elf wizard, and an elf bard. The DM, once he was done laughing, said, "Well, now that that's out of the way, we can get back to the story, right guys?" Since we were playing at my apartment, I told the DM to get out. This is the first great decision I've heard of this whole game. DM said that because he's the DM, he doesn't have to leave and that the story goes on. I told him he was no longer welcome and that he needs to leave or I'll call apartment security. He begrudgingly left, muttering how it's just a game and that he had fun with all the chaos. My favorite take on this whole thing is that he thought being the game master meant you couldn't expel him from your private property. He's like, no, get out of my apartment. You can't kick me out. I'm the DM. Like, we've spoken on the show about how this game kind of attracts people with a lot of like social anxiety or social issues, or people who may have been bullied growing up and had trouble socializing, and now they're adults that don't know how to interact with other adults. And there's a whole thing to unpack there, and I would love to do maybe an episode series on that. But you can't kick me out of your apartment because I'm in charge of this game. I'm not qualified to diagnose the disorder that would make you think that that makes sense. Am I making sense? Nothing makes sense in this whole thing. So I don't think the game went beyond this session. The whole thing is an absolute mess. I'm glad the game is dead. No D&D is better than bad D&D. Yeah, absolute total wreck. Everyone's an asshole. I'm assuming that even OP may have made some mistakes that they're not including in their story. But based on the story alone, I mean, the gladiator did try to intimidate the bully and succeeded. So I guess that was cool. So good on that player. But it looks like he was going up against not only a bully player, but a bully DM. And what do you do when, the god of your game is also a bully? The whole thing's a wreck. This game was bad. It's got to go. I hope your game is going better. If you have your horror story or even any feedback on the show, we want to know that we're being heard, and we want to know that you're enjoying the show. So any feedback whatsoever, tell us you love it, tell us you hate it, shoot us a DM, shoot us an email. We'd love to hear from you. And of course, we still have some of these awesome acrylic pins left. If you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, shoot us a screenshot of it, and we will send you some free swag. So my co-hosts promised me they'll come back very soon, which is great because I miss them so much. We're going to keep doing this with or without them, or with or without me, as Jack has proven last week. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for continuing to listen. Give us a follow on Instagram and or Facebook and or whatever. And best thing you can do is share this podcast with another nerd who may enjoy it. Guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.
This has been a JTP Audio podcast. Thanks for listening.